Hi, it's Reverend White Buffalo again here to go over one thing that I had was interested in proposing to the people of the Joint Unified Indian Nations. If you so choose to be jointly unified, I did submit something, a request to United Nations, therefore we can be unified and have one single voice, and that way we can work together and have more power within all nations as unified. I do want to talk about the court system within on the reservation within the Indian nation. I have a legal background. I graduated with a paralegal program that was very rigorous, and I don't know how many entered in. I was told like 56 or so entered in, and only 3 graduated, and I was chosen outstanding student with triple honors, and was recognized at the ceremonies. Understand that I'm very proud of that, but humbly thank God for that recognition, because I rarely get recognized for work that I've done. And I was accepted into a State Bar Associated law school, William Howard Taft School of Law, and that was about 12 years ago, where I studied for 18 months. I did study torts and crim, so I understand civil law and criminal law and legal research and writing, and I was accepted on a 2-year degree with impeccable references, and that's difficult to get into a accredited law school on a 2-year degree, but I was allowed to go in, and very humbly thank God for that too, because God then took me away after I completed the first year. He took me away and said, you learn what you need to know, and you can't go any further or you'll be in the Senate, and I don't want you there. So he took me away, and I have enough to be activist, because I understand the civil rights of the people, I understand legal research and writing, I understand the setup of the government, and understand the court system really well. And for 20 years I did independent legal work, not legal work, I have to rephrase that, paralegal work. Now it's called legal document assistance preparation, and where I was licensed to do that, and that was at the county recorder. And I do that off and on, have been doing that for 20 years, so I understand legal preparation, document preparation, for other people, so that they can represent themselves in the court, in a legal situation or proceeding. And understand that on the reservation, I know that paralegals are allowed to represent people from time to time. I guess it depends. I don't know if it depends on the case or the litigation or the circumstance, but I understand that they're vastly used in the court system, more so in on the reservation than, say, outside the reservation. But this is what I like to propose to the people, that we broaden the court system and make it more resource oriented for the people, where there's more services provided for the people, that's self-sufficient. And I'll tell you how we can do that. In a regular court of law, you have 2 divisions. You have criminal and you have civil, and criminal always has a tendency to set precedents more than civil. So I know that if you were to have an issue, and you are like a defendant in a crim court or crim law situation, then you have the right to have an attorney to be appointed to you free of charge if you qualify. This is what I propose that we do on the civil end, is that we have civil litigators available that actively compete with the private sector. And what I mean by that is that there are no legal representation that would be completely unbiased, and they would represent the petitioner or the respondent, and they would be underneath seasoned legal advisors, and they could we could provide this service for the people, and that actively competes with the public sector. And that's, let's say we get them right out of law school, and which we maybe pay them $25 an hour, which is a great price to pay an associate right out of law school, and then maybe we charge the public $50 an hour, and then there's $25 an hour that the court system can use to broaden the system, pay for more work for the people, more employment for the people, and provide more services, and maybe set that aside so that the elders can have free legal advice, free legal preparation, and maybe utilize the paralegals that are there to do a more service, to where they're providing legal documentation preparation at a fee, except for like the elders, because I'd like them to be taken care of on pro bono, which means not going to cost them anything. And but we charge the other people other things that qualify to be charged, and that's a service, and it's nominal fee. I know that like outside in the public sector, paralegals get sometimes $600 to do a divorce, and then the attorneys will charge thousands, tens of thousands to do a divorce. I say that we compete with that. I say that we bring it down to maybe depending on the availability of funds from the claimants, and just do something that is that will be flexible based on the income and the outgoing money. So we base it structured on the availability, and maybe do something on payments if we have to. But that's going to bring more resources into the judicial system. That's going to allow us to provide more work for our people. And I say that be separate from BIA, because I want to do a level of appellate court that brings in AIM, so that it's not under federal Supreme Court, where the watchful eye isn't from the federal, but make more sovereign. And so and what I also want to do is provide an advocacy program where there's a division that specifically looks after and advocates for each petitioner, respondent, defendant, claimant, whatever have you. Each person is issued an advocate who looks after the cultural rights and the faith-based rights of specifically regarding Native. Because you get an outside attorney coming in, and they're going to talk about legality, and that's all it is. It's all about law, and that's fine. But there's not an advocacy person that's going to be there that's going to say, hey, that goes against our relationship with God. You know, you can't make me do something just because it's legal by your standards, your court standards. You can't make me abide by that because it goes against our faith and our culture. And I think that's the most important thing. And this is what else I want to propose. All this advocacy programs, all of this stuff is going to be paid for by the services provided to the people, like the civil litigation attorneys that are going to be competing specifically with the public sector. Also, the paralegal program that's going to be providing the services for the people who pay. And then of course we have the elders that are going to get their free legal stuff. And I say, let's go after those civil litigations, those people that are coming on the reservation. Let's get those elders in there, and let's go after those assholes who are coming on the reservation and are ripping our people off, because those are the cases we need to get into, because then we can go get them, and then that money coming in for the elders, you know, and for the court system, but primarily for the elders, because we're going to turn it around and make them pay for the court fees. And we're going to be able to actively keep things going in there. We're going to bring in more money, and our judicial counselors and justices are going to be able to get a pay raise. But what's most important before that is that we broaden it so that we can hire the advocates, and we can hire more paralegals, and we could hire leaders from AIM who can be accredited through this joint unification of Indian nations called Indian Nations Unified, be accredited as counselors, and we have our own accreditation schools for law that specifically focus on tribal law. I mean, the basics on regular law is pretty freaking simple. But it's the tribal law and that stuff. We want to make our court system more specific to tribal needs and less specific to their needs. And that's what I would like to propose that we do. And we are protected under Articles 1 through 6 in the United Nations Declaration regarding Indigenous people in order to do this. Because I just checked a second ago, and they're all about the rights to govern our people based on our culture. And we can do that. And we are protected by United Nations in order, and they allow us to do that. You can check that yourself, Articles 1 through 6. United Nations Declaration regarding Indigenous people. It's online. You can find it. That's how I found it. But there's so much that I'd like to do, and there was a train of thought that I kind of went off track. Oh, I know what it is. And once we're set up, and immediately what I'd like to do is to have all of Native issues transferred to the nearest reservation and out of their court system because of the advocacy program. And I don't care if they are full members of a tribe or not. If they qualify, they should be allowed, because it's not their fault that they're not a tribal member, because the enrollment has been frozen or has been locked or has been closed. But that doesn't mean they shouldn't have rights to the cultural rights, and it doesn't mean that they shouldn't have rights to some of the services and things that I'd like to provide for them too. That's why I mentioned the special enrollment yesterday. I think it's important to build the tribe, because this is what I'm thinking that the U.S. government is doing. I think that they're stifling the growth of the tribe by limiting the funds. And that should be illegal. So if we can't have the funds, that's fine. Most of us just want to be recognized by the tribe as to who we are. You know, I'm not recognized by a tribe. Because one, I'm still trying to figure out which tribe I belong to. Is it Pasquayaki? Is it Lakota? Because Dennis Running Hawk has adopted me. Is it where am? Is it Brazil? I don't know. I know I'm tribe. I know I'm tribal. I'm just trying to figure out which one. So I wanted to propose that to you. I have another educational program for adults that I want to talk about later, but I don't want to do it right now because I'm afraid someone's going to steal the idea. And it's paid education, and it's something I'm going to hold it close to my chest because I don't want it to get out yet. But anyway, that's what I want to talk about right now, or what I wanted to talk about to you about the broadening of the court system. I think we can really utilize it to bring in funds to provide services for our elders. I mean, good God, they're being taken for granted. I mean, people showing up, from what I understand, from what I've been told, and my sources tell me that people are showing up claiming that the elders owe them money for lawn care that was never done, and our elders are being held captive by gunpoint to pay it. And you know, that's illegal, and these people are coming outside of the res and they're taking advantage of our people, and those are the people I'd like to serve papers on, because it's fraud, extortion, it's assault, it's battery, it's all of that, you know. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about. So thank you. Ciao for now.